It's me, it's Queen Osetta Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Now, guys, remember, after every video, I put underneath all my contact information. So if you want to email me for a reading, if you want to send me a love donation, if you want to hit me up on social media, if you want any kind of, interaction with me on that level, underneath every video is my contact information. Feel free to contact me, okay? All right, guys. Now listen, I was talking to a Libra, and the Libra told me that she is dating an Aquarius man. They've been dating for about 9 months. During the course of the 9 months, the Libra said that the Aquarius disappeared 3 times for a small amount of time, a couple days, 2-3 days here and there. But it's happened on 3 separate occasions. So she said to me, she's kind of confused because in my videos, I talked about how an Aquarius is sometimes very cold and distant and detached in the beginning. That's very common for us. It doesn't happen with all of us, but it's very common. So we usually get warmer as time progresses. And usually if an Aquarius goes cold, it's because you've done something to them. But in all of these situations that she mentioned to me, nothing had occurred. They were fine. The Aquarius disappeared, reappeared like nothing happened, and didn't want to talk about why he disappeared. And this has happened 3 times in 9 months. So she's asking me, is it common for an Aquarius to run hot and cold, or do I think he's up to something? Well, first and foremost, Aquarius are known for eccentric, unusual behavior. We don't generally run hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, but that could happen. And generally, if an Aquarius runs hot and cold, it's because something is happening. Now, you said nothing happened between the two of you before the Aquarius disappeared. It was a regular old time, laughing and joking. Aquarius disappears, come back like nothing happened. Your first clue here is that the Aquarius doesn't want to talk about why they disappeared. This is an issue. So I don't want to say is sinister or not. I'm going to say you have a 50-50 shot. You got a 50% chance that this is something sinister, like another woman, a baby, that was born, something along those lines. You got another man. That happens a lot nowadays. People find that out. So it could be something sinister like that, but it also could be something not sinister, because there are times when an Aquarius shuts off and they're not being sinister. When they need space, for example, when they're feeling like they are depleted and need to be recharged. If something happens at work, a lot of Aquarius and our humanitarian efforts, a lot of our careers are tied into our divine purpose. So for a lot of us, our career is in some kind of humanitarian type thing, and it means a lot to us, not just the money. Like with me, it's great to make money and eat every day, but my main reason for doing what I do is that it's my mission, it's my purpose in life. So if something goes on with work, that takes precedence in my life. Work takes precedence, always has. My daughter and work, those are the 2 things that take precedence over everything else. So something like that could have occurred, such as work. Then his mother, his father, a family member, anything along those lines could have happened. But I'm leaning seriously more towards something sinister, because even though there is a shot that it's not sinister, the reason why I'm leaning towards it is, why isn't he being forthcoming with the information? See, that's what is a big problem here. If he would just say, so-and-so happened or so-and-so is going on, I would be a lot more inclined to be like, oh, okay, I can understand that. But the fact that he disappeared on 3 different occasions for a couple days at a time and doesn't want to tell you why and where he was, and blows it off, and to this day has not answered the question, tells me that you are probably in sinister territory. And if you're not in sinister territory, you're definitely in territory of something that is being hidden. Something is being hidden here. And it's up to you to find out what that something is. Me personally, I would just ask. I would just come out with it. I would be like, you know what? I'm having a lot of reservations about this relationship because those times that you disappeared is giving me the feeling and the inclination that something is going on. And I don't want to be accusing you or coming at your neck, but it just feels like something's going on that you're not being forthcoming about. Is there something that we need to talk about? Is there something that you need to tell me? And that's the way that I would put it. And if he kept on not telling me what's going on, I would start to back away from this relationship because this is something that is very problematic. Because even if it's not sinister, he has a lack of communication skills or the lack of desire to communicate, one or the other. Either can't communicate it or doesn't want to communicate it. It's one or the other. And even if it is something like work or family or something like that, just the fact that he's hiding and doesn't want to communicate with you tells me there's something problematic in this area. How are you going to be in a relationship with somebody that you won't communicate when something's going wrong? Even if you don't want to tell me all the business, you can tell me something. You can say it's a family thing. You can say, somebody's sick. I'm taking care of something. You can say anything. You could be even vagueness is better than nothing at all. He totally blew past it, didn't even answer the question when you asked him and went on to a different topic of conversation. So I don't trust that. I don't trust none of that. I would do my best. Like I said, I would talk to him. And if he was not willing to tell me what was really good, I would start backing off because that is a warning sign. Remember I told y'all about them red flags? This is one of those red flags. Disappearing like that. The only time I've ever known somebody to disappear like that is when they were doing something they ain't had no business. And like I said, sometimes because he's Aquarius, we do disappear when we need to recharge our batteries. But that's something he could have said. I needed space. I needed to recharge. I was feeling down. If he can't communicate something that basic, you have no future in a relationship with him. You have no future because he can't even communicate basic ideas like I need some space. I'm tired. I need to replenish myself. I need a few days to get my head together. That's something that he should be able to say to you if that was the case. And if it's something else, he should be able to say something. But all this non-communication, that tells me you're hiding something or that you have a big problem with communication that's going to be an even bigger problem later. Because just because he's not saying anything doesn't mean he's hiding something, but it does mean there's a big problem with communication. I used to have this Aquarius friend. I stopped being friends with him because he kept doing the same thing. He wasn't disappearing, but he would just act weird. Like when we talked to each other, we were really cool, we were really great, and then he would just disappear. And we didn't have a relationship, we weren't sleeping together, he was just a friend. And I'm like, well, why are you disappearing? And he kept on doing it and then not answering my questions. And I was just like, something about you is weird. And your Aquarius is giving me that same vibration, like something here is not right. Not that I can tell, because with the friend that I had, we didn't have a relationship, a sexual relationship. So it was no reason for him to hide anything. He could have said anything to me and I would have been like, oh, okay. Anything he said, I would have been like, oh, okay. Because we had no sexual relationship. It was totally platonic. So it was nothing, there was no reason for him to do that. So that told me something was very wrong, even if it was just his communication skills were fucked up. And I wasn't willing to stay in any kind of relationship with someone who can't communicate. You can't. And in your case, it's romantic. So you can't build a future with somebody who can't communicate. It's going to fall apart eventually every single time. So if I were you, I would stop. I would come to a halt and I would get these answers from him. And if I couldn't get these answers from him, I would move on. If I got the answers and I didn't like the answers, I would move on. You see? Because the bottom line is that these are those red flags I always tell you guys to look for. When you see the red flag, you have to honor it. You have to respect it. It's there to warn you. It's there to help you. So don't blow past it. I'm glad you sent me a letter, because you sending a letter tells me you're not blowing past it, that you are seeing that something is going on. Next time, don't get to 3. Next time, don't get to 3. The first time some weird shit happens, halt and get your answers. And if you can't get no answers, keep it moving. Because even if you can't get the answer, you know the answer is something you probably not going to want to hear. It's probably something you don't want to hear. So, like I said before, try to get those answers from him and move on from there. If he doesn't give you satisfactory answers that really make sense and y'all can work through, then it's time to move on. Personally, even if it's not sinister, I would be very leery of this person. I'd be very leery of them, just on the communication tip. I'm very leery of people who can't communicate, because I know how hard communication is. And I know that we need to perfect it as much as we possibly can to be able to have a relationship with each other. Okay? All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to someone else who's wondering about Aquarius and our hot and cold nature. And Aquarius should not run hot then cold. They should run cold, if anything, warm, lukewarm, cold in the beginning, something like that. And they should gradually get warmer. If they go cold on you again, something's wrong. Halt and find out what that something is. Okay? See you guys later.